Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Beyond the Mirror. So, I am super excited to talk about something that I'm extremely passionate about. And just know that none of the things we say today are just like us telling you you have to do it this way or that, but it is like us having a conversation about a topic that we just love, which is facials. And today I have with me Sarah Stafford. She's a lovely esthetician. She's very excited to be in the industry, and we're going to walk through elements of a facial. So, like, what's in a facial? Why should you get a facial? Different elements of it. If you've never had one, this will be a good education. If you've had one, but maybe it was different than what we talk about, you'll learn a whole lot about maybe what to ask for when you're getting a facial yourself. So, welcome. And let me start by introducing you to Sarah. Sarah is a lovely esthetician. She's also into fitness, but I'm going to have her just kind of give you her backstory. Like, how did you get into being an esthetician?
Well, hi everyone. I started off with just a passion for beauty. And as I got a little bit older, I figured why not try to translate that into my career since it was something that I just did in my daily life. So I started my aesthetics journey in July of 2023 at the Salon Professional Academy. And it just unlocked a whole new world for me. And I'm so thankful that I got to go down that path and make all kinds of friends in the industry and just get to know myself and my skin better. What really drove my passion to become an esthetician was just realizing that so many of my peers and just people in my life didn't feel comfortable in their own skin, and I wanted to be the person who could help with use my knowledge to just, make people feel more comfortable and more beautiful. So I graduated from the Salon Professional Academy August of this year, and I've gotten to the industry thanks to Jennifer. So now I'm a licensed medical esthetician here at Elemental Aesthetics.
And so, just a few questions like when you were in school and you were learning, what were some of the things that surprised you? Like, I think a lot of times people feel like, "Oh, I already know a lot about skin or skincare," because I mean, it's everywhere. There's like every TikTok influencer, every
Right.
influencer talking about it all the time now. But what were elements of education that you were like, "Oh my gosh, I never really thought of."
Right. So, I mean, there was a lot. I feel like we all kind of struggle with getting to just even know our skin type to begin with. I forever thought that I was oily, when in reality, I'm more of a dry to combination. And it just has to do with the products that you're using. Whenever you get to really know your skin better, how your skin works, how cell turnover works, it just really helps you to understand better how to, you know, create the best sort of skincare routine for yourself, because you're not going to get the correct results or results that you want unless you're consistent in using appropriate products. So I feel like just, trying to navigate through the skincare world without having a really good understanding of your own skin kind of leaves you out there in the wild without much to go off of. So that was the first thing, is just kind of the assumptions that you usually make about knowing your own skin is wrong. All the time clients would come in and have complaints to for me about their skin, and it was kind of it was valid, but it had to basically do with their lack of just understanding and education of proper skincare. So, and also I had to very much get many people to start being avid users of sunscreen and actually washing their face at night. So that kind of was eye opening to me as well.
I know it's amazing to me. Like, I don't know. I think washing my face twice a day. I'm also like a twice a day tooth. My husband does not brush his teeth twice a day. And I'm like,
Mm.
how?
Yeah,
How can you live like that?
I know quite a few people who
It
are the
seems like
same.
madness to me.
Yeah.
And I've not only just been in the industry long enough to want to wash my face twice a day, but I think I just naturally did it before
Yeah.
because I was like, oh, I had makeup on. I need to wash my face. And then I get up in the morning, I'm like, oh, I just feel like I need to wash my face,
Yeah.
you know?
after sleeping at night, I feel like I'm a little bit oilier when I wake up, so I was pretty good about morning and night and brushing my teeth.
Yeah.
Um, well, yeah, but I think in that case too, like men, they kind of neglect the cleansing morning and night because they don't usually wear
Oh,
makeup or
there
anything.
tons of men just splash water on their face.
Yes, use the bar soap that they use to scrub their armpits with as well.
Yes,
So,
yes.
I mean, whatever works, I guess, but that's not what I would recommend as a professional. Next, I feel like, people over exfoliate or just don't exfoliate enough. So, so many people would complain about their dry skin or just not seeing the results they wanted from using like a scrub or something at home regularly. And in my opinion, it was usually due to just over exfoliating. They would almost do it daily or every other day. And I kind of, would take them by the hand and be like, let's try this, maybe try a light peel, something else a little bit different, and just the proper moisture following up after that. Like, I think it's important to not only know your skin and what kind of skin type that you have, but to treat it appropriately in order to, get healthy skin. Healthy skin is happy skin.
Well, yeah, I've always say it's the largest organ of the body.
Yes.
So you gotta take care of it, like, you take care of your hair, you take care of your nails, you wash your body off, like, your face is a piece of all of that whole puzzle, and it's the piece of your skin that people see the most. Like,
Yeah.
they don't see the back of your neck that much. They don't, like,
Right.
see your chest as much as your face even. So, it's, like, important to take care of it. So, what why would you recommend someone get a regular facial? Like, what is the importance of a regular facial, do you think?
Well, to start off with, something like a piece of science that I always like to talk about is, how newborns have very fresh, smooth, seemingly perfect skin. Well, what's cool is that their cell cycle, like their cellular turnover, it's really short. It's about 8 to 10 days on average. So they're always getting new skin cells regenerated, and that's how they're so just baby smooth, like we like to say. And as we get older, that cellular turnover slows down, and up until about the age of 25, it's at about every 30 days approximately. Obviously, it varies from person to person and genetics and everything. And then after 25, I believe it slows down a lot more. So, what I like to recommend as regular facials, like about every 4 to 6 weeks, the purpose of that is to keep your skin cell turnover at that rate of about 30 days, especially as you get older and you start to notice more signs of aging. It's really good just to fight the aging. They're also very relaxing. They're hydrating, you get, like, a very deep cleanse in comparison to what you would normally experience in, like, just your at-home skincare, and it's just, like, a nice, like, I would like to say, reset for your skin to keep it back on track.
So, you were saying about the turnover. Actually, after 28 is generally when that turnover significantly slows
Mhm.
every year after that. So around 28, you're naturally purging around every 28 days. But as you push into 40, it's taking almost 6 weeks for that cell to turn over.
Right.
So I always say, like you were talking about exfoliation, for example, when I'm explaining why a professional exfoliation like from us would be different or better for a client, it's because there's lots of I always say there's like snow. It's like packed snow underneath and
Mhm.
loose snow up on the top.
Right.
Okay. And so loose snow, if you step into it, you have a footprint. So that's what some of the wrinkles are. Okay.
Right.
So when we're doing exfoliation, we're taking the loose snow off and
Mhm.
leaving the packed snow underneath.
Which is what we want.
Yes. So from a facial to a laser service or whatever, what we're doing is trying to move along those cells that are just moving at a much slower pace with age. And in the young stages, it's important because you deal more with acne and other issues like that. So,
Absolutely.
like, you're dealing with different issues when you're younger getting facials than when you're older. But if you start younger, like I started getting facials when I was 26 And now I'm almost 53. I'll be 53 this month. So, like, more than half my life, I've been getting facials, and it makes a difference. It literally is the difference between me needing tons of work now
Right.
because I did all that work leading
All
up to this point.
exactly all that, maintenance, essentially keeping your skin healthy, and that's amazing, honestly. I didn't know you've been getting them since 26, so
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
I try to be like an example of like, and I don't do like my protocol's not crazy. I get a regular
Mhm.
facial. I do a little bit of tox, maybe, 2 or 3 times a year, and I do a couple lasers a year. Like,
Right.
and that's it.
Yeah, and you look great.
And it's like, and I look natural. Like, to me, like,
Yeah.
that's one of the important pieces. Like, I'm not all just full of crazy. I didn't have to have a facelift, and I haven't had any surgery or
Mhm. Mhm.
anything like that. It's just me from just doing the maintenance. So starting the maintenance early makes a
Yeah,
huge difference.
absolutely.
So talk through some of the elements that happen during a facial. So, like, what kind of is the process of receiving or giving a facial?
Absolutely. So for me personally, when I give a facial, I I tend to, do something a little bit more relaxing. I like to keep it fluffy, honestly. But I start with a double cleanse. I feel like not many people do double cleanse. I feel like in the morning it's maybe not as necessary. But I typically, when I double cleanse someone, I start off with more of a gentle sort of cream cleanser just to remove, any oil, makeup, debris before I go on to the second cleanse, which is usually more of like a gel based foaming type cleanser, kind of to just really degrease the skin and set a nice canvas, for everything else that I'm going to do throughout the rest of the service. And it also helps me be able to look at their skin and give it a proper analysis and just really get to know their skin better. I think it's really important to customize each and every facial to that person. I like to hear their concerns as well and make sure that, they leave happy and with skin that's, well, glowing. So
Mhm.
I feel like that's always a really important start. And I've read too that a double cleanse helps with just like product absorption throughout the rest of the facial. So following the double cleanse, I typically do some form of exfoliation. My favorites happen to be dermaplaning and a chemical peel, sometimes one or the other, but my favorite is to do a combination of both, typically a light peel following the dermaplane. And for those of you who don't know what a dermaplane is, it is whenever we basically gently remove the top layers of dead skin from the surface of your face, as well as your peach fuzz, which is a bonus. So if you have any peach fuzz, that's nice as well. And it just helps with, removing the dead skin, and it makeup application looks better, the days following it. Baby smooth skin, obviously, afterwards. And then I like to do a chemical peel as well, like I mentioned before. And what's nice about chemical peels is, they there's so many chemical peels that vary in like depth and just purpose. And there's the two main popular ones that I like to use are alpha hydroxy acids or AHAs, as well as beta hydroxy acids, which are BHAs. So there's a lot to choose from when it comes to treating people with peels. And as an esthetician, I'm licensed to be able to do like a lighter peel up to a medium depth peel, which would be about at the epidermal dermal junction. So it just really depends on if someone's just needing like a nice light exfoliation or if they're needing something with more results driven, like, you know, the reduction of acne, fine lines and wrinkles, any sort of hyperpigmentation. And so I actually prefer to do a chemical peel on someone versus like a scrub if I had the option, just because it's, chemical peels come in the form of a liquid. So when you apply it to the face, it's very even and uniform. And I just feel like sometimes, depending on the client or the scrub, that it's not as even. Like sometimes it could be a little bit harsher on like the delicate areas, like near your eyes or something like that. And a lot of us have fine lines and wrinkles by our eyes. So it's nice to be able to have the option to bring the peel up a little bit closer if you have crow's feet or something instead of just trying to scrub. So,
You know, it's interesting too when you say, when at least when we say peel to a client, everybody kind of goes Like,
Right.
but the reality is, like, I mean, we have like a dozen different like light to
Mhm.
slightly more than light peel options.
Right.
And none of those have fallout, meaning
Mhm.
you don't peel after, you don't have shedding skin after, you just look radiant, glowing.
Yes,
So when you say peel to the average person or to somebody that's never had a facial before, that can be scary.
absolutely.
But the reality is, I would never have a dermaplane without a light peel after.
I feel like it completes, it seals the deal. It gives like it takes care of if you missed anything, hopefully not with the dermaplane, but it just like gives that radiance, like you
But it
said.
it literally, so when you're dermaplaning, you have kind of like this debris of skin that's left over.
Mhm.
And if you just dermaplane and then throw a mask on someone, you're leaving that like excess debris on. And when you're doing the peel after, now you're like lifting the debris.
Mhm.
And you're treating all kinds of things. Like you were talking about the beta and alpha hydroxy acids. I actually am a huge fan of lactic acid. It
Mhm.
gives you the glow. It has literally no downtime. It's what's called a humectant, so it draws your own moisture to the surface, which
Wow,
is
yeah.
a great way to hydrate. But you just look radiant, and with dermaplaning, in my opinion, you should always have a peel after
Yeah.
of some
Typically,
sort.
that's the route that I like to go myself, so
Yeah.
but yeah, I agree, and I mean, I also like lactic acid. I also really enjoy glycolic. I've done salicylic a couple times, especially on clients that have more just, like, acne-prone skin or just oily or skin type in general, and I've always loved the results, and typically, I hear from them, even if it's just a lighter peel, like Jennifer said, that their skin is automatically smoother and more radiant just right after the first time, and we typically like to, especially if you want results, schedule you for the same or a similar peel in a series of, about 4 to 6, depending on, of course, the skin concerns that you have. But I do a peel on myself regularly. Like I would never skip it. I do it more than a scrub, but I do appreciate scrubs because they're easy to use and you can do them at home and it's nice to like maintain your skincare or your results at home. I think that's half of the battle is, you can get a facial monthly, but also what you do at home helps to keep up with those good results too.
Well, yeah, and now they have 2, my favorite at home, like, I too have kind of gotten away from using scrubs at home. We do have a really great scrub here. Like,
Yeah, I do love that scrub.
Zio makes a really fantastic scrub, and it's
Mhm.
made of a magnesium crystal, so it's actually feeding the skin also.
Wow, yeah.
So that one's better, but personally, I prefer, like, a topical serum,
Mhm.
and the one that I love is, it's called Alpha Ret, and
Yeah,
it is retinol and lactic. So
right.
you get the anti-aging benefits of the retinol, but the lactic keeps you from having the dry, flaky skin from the retinol.
Yeah, best of both worlds.
That's right. So it's like a 1-2 punch. And so, even clients that we've had that get irritated from Retin-A or retinol can usually use this with no side effect.
Right,
And it's a great at home in between your facial treatment. It's like
absolutely.
doing a little mini dose of that little peel, well, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
at home.
definitely. N
So then when you're done with your dermaplaning, light peel or scrub or enzyme or whatever else you might have used to exfoliate,
Mhm.
what do you usually do next in your facial?
So, sometimes if you we're done with that, neutralize the peel if necessary. I like to give them a good old hydrating mask, something to just really lock in the moisture, lock in the results of the exfoliation that we just did. It's relaxing, it's soothing. I like to put it on and like with 2 brushes and like a little fancy technique way just to get them into the zone. Most of my facials at this point, sometimes I'll do a little bit of aromatherapy as well. And once the mask is on, kind of, if they just want to relax, I'll just let them relax. But I incorporate usually like a head, neck, and shoulder massage of some sort just to like really boost the relaxation. I feel like not a lot of us in this crazy day and time have me time or just the time to relax. And so I think that also helps with the results too. Less stress, less, you know, it's more anti-aging that way, in my opinion. So, I mean, there's different masks that I like to choose from. I typically go with like a cream, like super hydrating mask or something that's more like a gel that can be more on the soothing end of things if, they're a little bit pink from their peel. But that's the next step for me is a nice mask. How about you usually?
Well, it depends on if someone needs extractions.
True. And honestly, in so far in my experience, I haven't encountered many yet, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of people haven't had congestion. I tend to deal more with like people that have more like just aging skin
Mhm.
and not so much congestion yet. So, but you
Yeah,
can't
I
miss
mean
out on the extractions.
yeah, yeah. Well, and just so people know, like, especially in the nose, that's
Mhm.
kind of the most common spot that people get it.
Yes,
You
or the
know
chin for myself.
you know who has the worst congestion in the nose? It's usually guys. Like,
Mm,
men
yeah.
really have or chin.
Yeah, me
They're,
too.
like, lots of blackheads, and
Yes.
it's really fun to get them out. I know it sounds terrible, but the before and after when you need extractions is amazing. Like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, "Oh, look, the pores are smaller now," and all the
Mhm.
things, and honestly, don't do that at home, please.
No.
Like,
Um,
that's how you kinda can really mess your face up.
yeah, I mean, especially when it comes to just picking too hard at your skin, you don't wanna cause any sort of damage or hyperpigmentation where we say no to that. So,
Well, and the other thing that I see sometimes is when people do it themselves, they break little capillaries on their
yes.
nose or on their cheek, and then they have a broken vein on their face because they got jiggy with it in their face, or whatever.
And sometimes it doesn't even result in the extraction, you're
That's
just
true.
damaging your skin, but I know it's hard when you can see it right there in your face, but just leave it to us.
Try to resist.
Yeah.
Just resist. So, you were talking about massage and relaxation.
Mhm.
There's actually data that shows the act of laying down to get a facial or a massage, either
Yeah.
one, reduces your aging.
Oh my gosh, okay, so I'm on to something.
Yeah.
Okay, I figured, but that's crazy, I
So
guess the mental.
just the practice of being there in this comfortable bed,
Mhm.
in this, environment, the music and the smell and the touch of another human,
Right,
and all of that actually reduces aging because it's all about stress reduction and
exactly.
inflammation reduction and just taking a breath,
Yeah,
really. Like, you're not laying there thinking about everything in the whole world that's eating you alive.
exactly.
You're like you're communicating with another person. There's no cell phone in the room usually. Like,
Right,
there's like it's just you and another human connecting with each other.
which is important, we all need that, we all need some time to just decompress, and it's nice too because it's like a form of self-care at the same time. Like, not only is your skin taken care of, but it's, like, good for your mental health as well to just, take a breath and be able to relax and enjoy yourself in that environment.
So you love I love I so I actually do 2 masks with every facial.
Okay, we're gonna talk about the sheet masks.
Yes, so I
Yes.
like a treatment mask like you're talking about, a
Mhm.
cream or a gel or, there's all different kinds. But then I like to follow it with a sheet mask because there's so many great we have some that do brightening,
Yeah.
that help with pigmentation. We've got one that helps with redness and pore size, and it's like when you pull the sheet mask off at the end, it's like a ah, like that's the only way to describe it. Like,
I
there's
mean,
just
yeah.
times when I lift that off someone's face and it's like it was really transformative. And it might take the fire out of any spot that got kind of pink or hot or
Right.
irritated from some of the other parts of the process, and it's just I don't know, I literally almost never do a facial without 2 masks.
I'm gonna have to upgrade my change my game up now. 2 masks.
It's
Okay.
great, it's really, really great, and it makes a nice difference and a nice change, and then if I am gonna do any massage, I'll do it with the cream mask or the gel mask or whatever, a
Yeah.
little bit, but I'm not as luxurious as you
Oh,
are.
stop. You're sweet.
I'm not. I definitely don't do, like, neck or chest or hand and arm as much anymore,
Right.
but I'm, like, in the thick of, like, doing a lot of like, I just did a client, and we did dermaplaning with a light peel,
Mhm.
extractions, an IPL laser,
Yeah.
then a sheet mask. So
Sounds
it
lovely.
was kind of like the works. And when you're incorporating that laser in the middle, you're getting that treatment. But by incorporating the facial, she'll also have very little downtime with it. Like
Right.
she'll just look really good.
Right.
And so it's a good way to kind of have it all.
And I was curious too, since we're on the topic of IPL and how it can be incorporated into a facial, what kind of client or what kind of results would you get from an IPL like service?
So in her case, she's very vascular and she has a lot of redness in the skin. So we're treating the broken capillaries or general redness that she fights.
Mhm.
She has a lot of autoimmune, and sometimes that leads to a lot of inflammatory skin.
Yeah.
So it was more, we were like, every maybe twice a year for her, we might do an IPL on her face just to just calm down the fire.
Right.
Most people don't do IPL that frequently, but she just fights it a little bit more than somebody else might.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But IPL also helps with, like today we did her neck as well for age spots.
Wow.
And it will give you a little bit of tightening. So you get a
Mm.
boost of collagen,
Right.
reduction of redness or broken capillaries, and then actually the removal or reduction of age spots.
Got it. So that leads me into like another sort of facial that I enjoy to do as well, which is the Splendor X laser facial, and I know that that can kind of similarly helps with like any sort of like overall redness, like vascular issues that you can
Absolutely.
notice in
Yes.
your face as well. Pam here calls it the red carpet facial.
Yes.
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
just gives you like a boost of radiance and a glow and just evens out the pigmentation in your face. And I like to do that on one of my clients that struggles with rosacea, and she's given me good feedback on that as well. So that just leads me to wonder what would be the difference between like the laser facial versus like IPL incorporated into a facial.
So I'd say the Splendor X is excellent at general redness also.
Okay.
The IPL has more longevity. So
Okay.
so I think I've seen the client that you're speaking of, and
Yes.
she's so red, she could not go right into the IPL.
Right.
It would be
Okay.
too strong for her.
Got it.
So the Splendor X allows her to start reducing that redness
Mhm.
and dropping it down so that then she could step into the IPL, which would give her maybe months of redness reduction.
Got it.
The other option, though, for her is to do a series of the Splendor X, and she could get months of redness reduction.
Absolutely.
So it's just a question of like, where are they in the process? Like,
Mhm.
what do they need? What can their skin handle? Sometimes you have to baby step into some of the lasers if there's a lot going on, or if it's just really reactive tissue, or
Yeah.
sometimes even getting regular facials can strengthen the skin of a rosacea client, allowing them to do some of the other lasers.
Yeah, and so I was doing research online too, and I had discovered that rosacea can sometimes also cause a buildup of skin, like on the face. And so, do you think it would be potentially appropriate, maybe in between the laser facials, to do like a dermaplane with a light peel? Do you think that would
Absolutely. I've
also?
I, I've never held back on exfoliating rosacea clients. You just have to be careful about which peel you're using. Now you want to use
Hmm.
something very passive,
Of course. Okay.
so you don't want to aggravate or inflame the already inflamed skin. And
Absolutely.
they are amazing with the sheet
Okay.
mask.
Noted.
that
Duly
will
noted.
that will just take that fire right out. It's amazing. Now the laser, like the Splendor X, is going to take the fire out for longer, like
Hmm.
weeks. The sheet mask will take the fire out for days.
Right.
The IPL will take the fire out for months.
Right.
So it's
Wow.
it's just kind of like how you know how they can be treated and what their skin can handle. And
Hmm.
like with that particular client, she needs to do a series of the Splendor X to calm her so she's ready for the IPL.
Right.
And then she'll be ready. Then she'll have months, or possibly if she did a couple of IPLs, maybe even more than a year of reduction, and then maybe once a year she does a maintenance to maintain it.
Which would be wonderful,
Yeah.
just to really keep the results, like, the longevity of them. It's important, and she has been enjoying her Splendor X
Yeah.
facials, so
But the nice thing about the Splendor X is it's so relaxing. It's
yeah.
warm and it's comfortable. IPL, not so much.
Okay,
It's
good to know.
sassy and
Ah,
hot and like it's not as comfortable, but the results are amazing. So people are
it's worth
more
it.
than willing to like go through that,
Right.
But the nice thing about IPL is most people don't have like crazy downtime from it, and you could put makeup on immediately after.
That's awesome.
So if they have plans or life, it's like one that can integrate in your life pretty easily.
Yeah, good to
So
know.
So then when you're done with a client, you've done their facial, you've gone through the exfoliation, extractions, massage, the masking and all that. What's your best advice for them when they get home or for the next few days or weeks after they're done with you?
Yeah, I mean, so each facial that I give someone, if I don't already know their skin pretty well, I mean, regardless, I always do an analysis just to kind of see where we're at. But I like to give them some like product recommendations and just general aftercare, especially if they're doing a chemical peel, to prior to the peel, not to, be using retinols regularly for at least 5 to 7 days. Same thing after the peel. And it's so important if you're not already wearing sunscreen to wear sunscreen, regardless of the peel, but especially if we do the peel, just because, we just removed your top layer of dead skin. So you are a little bit more susceptible to damage from the sun, and in general, it's just important to wear. So I always like to give them just the rundown on what's important to do to care for their skin. And I usually try to write it down because you're not going to remember everything I say. And I just sometimes will follow up with them as well, just to kind of see how they're feeling, especially if the peel was a little bit spicier than usual. But yeah, so I just kind of tell them if they already have a great skincare routine, which a lot of my clients do, to just maintain that, especially if it's very suitable for the treatment that we just did. And otherwise, I always try to give them really good, like I said, product recommendations to just really help maintain the results in the meantime. It's important because if you just go home and you fall asleep with your makeup on, like we don't love that. That's not the goal here.
So another fun fact, there's data that shows if you simply wash your face twice a day,
Hmm.
it reduces your aging.
See, it's that simple. Just
Adding one more wash makes a difference in your aging, and it's because you're moving along the top loose snow,
yeah, it makes sense.
so it makes you look better,
Genuinely.
Mhm.
Wow.
So, well, thank you for coming on and sharing your brain with us and just like letting people know all the elements or some of the elements that are included in a facial and what happens and how to maintain it after. Just one last question on that. How frequently do you recommend someone gets a facial?
Well, like I mentioned before, I would say, about every 4 to 6 weeks. Sometimes it could be even sooner, depending on the results that you want, or if we're going to kind of switch up the technique. Like you said, sometimes we can do lasers, or perhaps the peel could, come a little bit sooner. But on average, 4 to 6 weeks is my biggest recommendation, just to like keep your cell turnover at that rate of about 30 days approximately, and just to have overall healthy and radiant skin.
I agree. I think 4 to 6 weeks is fantastic. I always say worst case scenario, if your budget doesn't allow or your time doesn't allow, if you can get yourself in for a facial once a quarter,
Yes.
that's like every other skin cycle almost.
Yeah.
So that still keeps you looking really good. So if you
Mhm.
can't do the 4 to 6 weeks, just like 4 times a year, 4 times a year, go get a facial.
Yeah, you deserve it.
It'll make a huge difference. So well, thanks again for coming on. I appreciate it. It was wonderful
Yeah.
talking to
It
you,
was a
and
pleasure.
it's always fun to see you at work every day. And she's amazing. So come see her. And thank you all for listening in today. Appreciate it. want to make a quick but important disclosure. The information and advice shared in this podcast are intended to provide general knowledge and understanding about wellness and health-related subjects. They are not intended to replace professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or qualified health provider with any questions that you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment, and before undertaking a new health regimen. Remember, your health is your responsibility, and it's always best to consult with a healthcare professional.